Another challenge. I'm supposed to build something in SketchUp, bring it into Stager, apply a graphic of my name from Illustrator, and then render that thing into something beautiful. Let's take a look. We're going to start in SketchUp. I'm sharing my screen. Let's take a look what we got here. So I'm in SketchUp, and what I'm going to do is build some goofy thing. What I might do is grab my polygon tool, and right now it's set for 3 sides. Of course, I can pick 5 sides or something else. I have to hit return after I'm done with that before I do anything with it. So just in case you find yourself wondering, how do I draw something that has 3 sides or 5 sides or 6 sides or whatever? So I'm going to grab some goofy thing like that, pull it up, and then what I want to do is put something on top of that. I'm looking at exercise 4, assignment 4, in our course. And so you'll see here in SketchUp, create any object, push, pull, scale, follow me. You can use the other tools if you want to as well. Illustrator, typeset your name, and then Stager, open up that file and play around with it. So that's what we're doing. I'm back in SketchUp. What I want to do is, maybe what I'll do is have some fun. I could play with some of the tools in here. If I grab this top surface and then get my rotate tool and click there and grab it and then rotate that, look how cool that is. I can make some kind of a wacky twisted dude. I like that. I want to keep that. So, and then what I'm going to do is put, maybe, I don't know, I'll put some kind of goofy thing on top of that. That might be kind of fun. So here we go. I'm going to grab a little freehand tool, and I want to make sure I'm drawing in the sky. So freehand like that. Great. Then I'm going to come back over here and say what I really want is for that gizmo, that thing, to be on top of this surface. I'm going to grab that shape, move tool, and if I grab the end of that and say the end belongs here on top of that surface, I am pretty happy with how that looks. So then what I can do is say, okay, here's my follow me tool. You can also, of course, grab that top surface and scale it so that it can get, I'm going to tip the option key to make it larger, so you can do some fun things like that to it. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is grab that path. So that's my path. There's my tool, follow me, and there's my shape. Gazoink. Wow, I love that. How crazy is that? So you can get some really, I don't know what it is, but I like it. Anyway, it's a pretty crazy effect. If you find yourself worried about little things like this hole back here, you can always use your pencil tool to say, close up that hole. If I just tap 2 ends of an opening, it will close it up for me. So there we go. I love it. So I've got a couple of things in here that I put together. So let's say I'm going to save that thing as we're going to call that schmutz, and we're going to put it on, I'll put it on the desktop for now, and we'll go back and find it later on. I used to have a desktop back in here. Boy, those are the days. I'll put it in downloads for now. Well, that's all right. We'll put it there. So it's going to live there, and I can come back and find it. Now, I'm gone into Illustrator already, and I made this. If you were in class and you remember how to do this, what we did was set the piece of type in outline mode and got into our appearance menu, and we filled the letter forms with a white fill, and then we put a 20 and a 40 and a 60-point stroke on it. So you end up with that kind of rainbow effect. Make sure that the strokes are underneath the fill. That's the whole point. Inside the appearance menu, you can just grab those guys and drag them and move them around. So put your strokes underneath and then make sure they get bigger as they go up. So I got my name kind of set in this interesting way. And now what I'm going to do is come back into Stager. Here's where the fun happens. So I'm in Stager. I got nothing on my screen. I'm going to go into the images, and what they give you in this is a lot of pretty interesting stuff. So I'm going to get a city plaza, and we'll make this our new sculpture that's going to be in there. So there's our city plaza. It's lovely. I'm thrilled about that. What I'm going to do is come up to File, Import, and say I want to import a 3D model. And we're going to go look inside Downloads and say, hey, look, there's Schmutz. Perfect. A lot of other crap inside there as well. Wow. Okay, so there's my Schmutz sculpture. It's fabulous. It asks me if I want to generate UVs. I will say, yes, I do want you to generate UVs. And then, of course, it won't work. So we'll have to do it again. But already you can see how cool it is. I'm going to use my move tools here inside there. You can move them frontwards or backwards. So I'm just going to grab those move tools until I'm kind of happy with where that is in the city plaza. You can scale it using the boxes. And you'll notice when I scale it, it says, well, I'm no longer on the ground. I put part of it into the ground. So then I can come back and say, well, that's okay. What I'll do is hit this little button right here in actions that says move to ground, doink, and it pops it up where I want it to be. Now, what I want to do is put my name on this goofy thing. There's, by the way, there's my rotate tools. If you saw, I want the other face to be showing. Whoa, yeah, that's what I want right there. So you can pick where you want that to be and how it works. So fool around until you're a happy clam. And then what we want to do is put my name on this thing in some place. I don't know where it's going to go. Maybe right on this face right here. We'll put it right there as if I had signed my artwork. Wow. So typically when we bring in the artwork, we say generate UVs, and then it never works. So I'm going to come back up here to Object, Generate UVs again. UVs are the map that it uses to wrap a graphic onto a three-dimensional surface. So that's what we're generating when we make UVs. Generate UVs, nothing happens, but now I can bring something in. So now if I said I want to go to import here, place image on model, or I could come over here in my actions and there's a little sticker, like a little peel sticker button right there. And that says, I'm going to put a graphic on the model. It says, what would you like to put on there? And I go, I want to find my name. Where did I put my name? That's a great question. It will be inside here in the week that we did it, my name. Notice it's an AI file. Because Adobe Stager is an Adobe product, it doesn't care what format you save it in. You can bring it in from whatever. So like Photoshop, like InDesign, like Illustrator, you can save native files and plop them in here. Didn't used to be like that, but now it's like that. Pretty cool. And then when I drag this thing around, you notice it kind of goes, well, what surface would you like me to attach that to? Do you want to scale it? And I can scale it wrong by smudging it, or I can hold down my shift key and scale it right, maintain the proportions. And then I've got a little rotate dude up here. So I've got ways to make that thing look pretty cool, but that's not the best part. What I'm going to do now is grab that model, close up my images. I'm done with the images. Thank you for everything. And take a look at my materials. There are some great materials. There's basic materials here like metal and things like that, but there's some beauties down in here. So if I said I want to make that out of aluminum foil or hardened hammered metal or rough metal, there's a lot of really cool things. I highly encourage you to spend some time banging around inside this menu and see whether you can't find something that is pretty cool. There are a lot of really interesting materials that are available, and most of these are what are called parametrics. So if I said I'm going to make that out of carbon fiber, it'll attach that material to it, and that's pretty dark and gloomy. Maybe I'll pick something different than that. So what you can do is put that in there. Like for instance, if I said car paint, I want that to be painted with car paint, and it will give me that gizmo. Car paint will look like that, or metal rough, metal polished. So I've got a lot of possibilities here. I got to pick the object again in order for it to work. Always make your selection first. So I'm kind of happy with the way that looks. And I just want you to mention over here under transform, I've got a lot of metrics that I can mess around with in terms of the way that the grain works. Is it a sandblasted material? That's kind of cool. The size of how grainy it looks. So I've got a lot of controls here in terms of how that works for my model and what that surface ends up looking like. The last thing I want to just point out is that we also have the opportunity to put lights in here. So I can put a physical light in. I can also put in an environment light down here. So I'm going to put a spotlight in here. Add that spotlight. You can move it just like you can an object. You see how it's set up. It's kind of a cone shape. So I can move that around, make it higher like that, pull it up. You don't get to see much of what's happening with it at this point. It doesn't really show very much. What will show though is I'm trying to orient that thing so that it looks like it's pointing in the right direction. What will help is that when you get to the point where you turn on your render, I'm just going to zoom here for a second. There's a button up here that says ray tracing. Turn that on and then hold on to your seats because man, does that look terrific. This is like a preview of what the render looks like. So there's my spotlight shining on my crazy sculpture that I made in SketchUp with my name attached to it on my city plaza. Already pretty great. We're in the design portion of Adobe Substance 3D Stager, If I go to the render mode here, then it says, oh, what do you want to do with the render? It's medium preset, noise levels, what kind of resolution it's going to have, and then also places like where will this go and what will it be called? Untitled on the desktop, PNG file. I can also, this is cool, save it as a PSD and get layers out of this. So all my bits and pieces come in as layers. So it takes a little while. It's kind of a slow process, as you may well imagine, but it's pretty cool to watch it happen. And it will just run that until it says, there, da, 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 you are done with your model. I hope that's helpful for you. I hope you had some fun with that thing. It's a crazy great program. Make some fun things, and then I look forward to talking to you again very soon. So long.